Oh my goodness.
It's there. I got on time this time. Hey everybody, welcome aboard the Tabletop Express. We are continuing our top 20 series. This is the fourth video in the series, by the way.
That's true. You're back clean up, and what better position you are the head conductor after all.
Yeah, I am excited. So it is my list today, my top 20. And
I think you look a little tilted.
So yeah, Ryan is adjusting the light, so don't disregard the tilt.
It's like Star Trek. Start moving.
Oh god,
it's another aftershock.
The aftershock. So few things. First, I want to thank everybody for tuning in so far. I want to thank Mr. Rao. I want to thank Danielle as well, who have been a part of this with their own lists, and of course, Ryan, you kicked this whole party off.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah, I had a late night last night, so I'm on Duncan today. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were up all night.
Not all night. I don't know what you think, Mr. Rao and I did, but after hours.
Afterwards?
Yeah, totally.
Well, when I was last watching, you been around. Anyways,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I digress. So top 20, it's been fun. My list tonight, I want to give a quick disclaimer because one of the questions in the Discord, and a friendly reminder, if you're not on our Discord, definitely want to be in the Discord. We are going to have a caller's top 20 at the end of this. And if you're in the Discord, you're going to be able to put your top 20 in there and contribute to that potential. Your number one could be the number one for the community. Who knows? But with that, why and how did I pick the top 20?
Why are we?
Why did you do it?
Why did I do it? So, top 20. The question was posed in the Discord of how you picked the top 20 and what was my process. I got to say, my process was a combination. If I had to put percentages to it, I could. But at the core of it, 50% of it, I would say, was the overall experiences I've had with the game and the meaning of the game to me.
Okay.
Like that meaning. I will say there's probably 0.25% that is just making sure I'm trying to get it played. So I think that can get done if I'm not trying to get it played, but like if I'm not having really any effort to put it to the table, that tells me something. You know what I mean? So that plays some part in it, but not a complete part.
So tonight's a reflection.
It is in many ways, but most of the games on my list, I will say, fairly active play or have a lot of historical relevance to me that are going to keep games high or at least on the list.
Okay.
So, but you told me, Ryan,
I did,
that to do our honorable mentions, to bring the physical copy of the honorable mention. So I brought this from my house. My honorable mention, which is not quite on the top 20, but number 21 is this guy, Wonderland. I can't even, it's big. Wonderland's War. Wonderland's War, I said last year. It's funny. I said, I think this might make my top 20 in the next year. And it came that close. It came that close. Number 21. Wonderland's War was one of those games. I've got to play it 2 times now.
Yeah.
And it was enough of an experience that I feel so strongly about this. But when it comes down to it, to crack the top 20, I want to play it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this lie on the box?
What do you mean?
On the box, it says right here, 25 minutes per player. That's
BS.
Yes. That is BS.
Okay, that is BS.
It's like 45
Don't
per
you think
player.
that's even as arbitrary as it may be sometimes? Don't you think that's even more crazy when they phrase it that way?
Yeah,
it seems even more of a reach.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do you know that? That's
I don't look. All I know, Wonderland's War. I will just briefly say it was a game that combined area control and this card drafting and these all these things in a really unique way that I really enjoyed. So that will be my honorable mention.
Okay.
We'll see it next year in the top 20. I bet.
But now the real list.
The real list
begins.
Bring it up. Bring it up. All right. So my number 20 is a.
Oh yeah, Tyler is a bag.
Yes,
builder
it is a bag builder. Yeah, it's delightful in that way. There's bag builders are fun. I like them. My number 20 is not a bag builder. It is a game that has been on my list in the past. It has dropped fairly significantly this year. But I'm glad it's still on the list. And that is my number 20, Marvel Champions.
Marvel Champions.
And this is now a triple crossover, by the way, between myself, Mr. Rao, and Danielle. So a popular one for certain. For me, Marvel Champions is a game that, even though I've played a lot less this year than I have in the past, I feel really strongly that this game has gotten better from a design factor. I feel like they're doing some really good things with the game that was not happening early on with designs of like the Hulk, for example. I thought was missed opportunities, and now I feel like the design of the characters that have been coming out have been really interesting. Deadpool in particular with a different aspect. You've got a lot of really cool villains. I will say, not necessarily, I forget when he came out, but like, for example, we played with Mojo at one point the year before, and just like some of these designs are so interesting with the villains. But it's a game that keeps evolving. The hardest thing with this game to keep up with, honest to God, is just some of the changing rules or little like erratas that are coming out with, just to like.
Yeah, I can see how that gets annoying. You know, it's one thing when you have to reference one other rule book for an expansion to a game, but when there's so many things that come after, and I'm definitely not just Marvel Champions is guilty of this, but it's like, all right, well, if you're playing with this and this and this, then this happens. You play with this and this, then do this. And it's like, I don't want to follow the flow chart.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, there's a lot. Most of the rules are fairly straightforward still, but there's these little
not
things. Yeah,
and then it's like you got to kind of go with it.
I think the game kind of allows for that, but it's number 20 this year. Again,
Squirrel says much lower than he expected.
Yeah, I really like Marvel Champions, to get me wrong, but you'll see.
Do you know what it was last time?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It says right here. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Number 12.
Number 12.
Yeah. So it dropped quite a bit, but it's still on the list. So
Tyler's saying he's afraid to get into this based on his deep dive into Ashes Reborn.
Yeah.
Tyler, we don't know each other very well, but I think you're on the right track. I think you should stay away from the Marvel Champions.
Stay away
for your own wallet.
Until Fantastic Four comes out, like Squirrel is saying.
Oh, yeah. When Fantastic Four comes out, certainly.
I've actually yet to play this game.
We got to get that to do. But again, I like this best at too.
Wasn't that, we did a video once where we were looking at, it was top 5 games you want to play with Barrows because he was sick one day.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I think that was your number 1.
That probably was.
Yeah.
Probably was.
All right.
Well, my number 19, I believe, is a crossover, if I'm not mistaken.
You're mistaken.
Am I mistaken?
I don't know.
Oh, hold on. No, I'm not mistaken. Hold on.
First of all, by the way, for those that don't see what Barrows is looking at, his list is so crazy. He provides me columns of every single year of list, and then I got the list wrong because he just didn't send me one list. He sent me multiple lists from previous years.
It's useful to track it so I know the change from year to year.
For you, yes, but he just wants the current list.
So why don't you just hide the columns?
Why don't you hide the columns?
It takes 2 seconds to hide the column.
Anyways, what's your number 19?
My number 19 is a classic.
Okay.
In many worlds, it has recently come out with a more beautiful version.
I think I might know what it is.
And it was on Mr. Rao's list, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, if it's what I think it is,
then I believe you're looking at
3. Ready?
There you go. 1, 2, 3.
Castle of
Burgundy.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a triple crossover to start, a double triple crossover. This is a game that, for me, whether I've played it in person with the new version, which I've got to do once, whether I've played it online, it is just a wonderful experience. And every game, kind of like Mr. I was talking about last night, every game, it just feels different. I can try something a little new. The gameplay, because what's coming out is different, is always different. So the replayability on this is so high. I do think it gets a breath of fresh air with the kind of deluxe version for me a little bit, but at the heart of it, it's about the gameplay, and the gameplay is what wins for me. That's why this one is sitting at 19 on my top 20. There are definitely games ahead of it. But if you asked me to play Castles of Burgundy over so many of the other games that maybe fall as classics or a modern classic, you could say.
Okay.
I don't want to say classics, modern classic.
Yeah.
This is probably the one that stood out most to me.
Do you have the deluxe one?
I have a deluxe one, yes. Yeah, it's I do not have like the acrylic tiles, but I actually like because if you didn't do the acrylic tiles and if you flip them over with the tiles that come with the one that I got, it tells you what that tile means, which is kind of nice.
Oh, okay.
So like you could flip it over if you're playing with someone who's never played and say, oh, that's what that icon means. So yeah. But yeah, Castles of Burgundy, to me, I have not played with the new expansion. And even if I don't rush to that, I'm not crying over that just because I think the core game of this is so good. And like I said, I think this is a modern classic for a reason. And for that reason, it is on my top 20 at number 19.
Huey's saying that he loves Castle of Burgundy. Marcel's looking forward to playing it. And then Tyler's saying, I feel like he's got to play it again after having a bad experience years ago with it.
No.
Yeah, sometimes you need to play a game one more time. Or it's all sometimes about the person who taught it.
Yeah, Tyler, we'd like to know more.
Yeah.
This is a safe space.
I do want to know this. I don't know if anyone in the chat knows this, but is the non-Awakened Realms version still readily available, like at retail or at cheaper prices?
I thought it was.
Because if it's not, I would be disappointed in that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I feel like it's a solid Euro game, and I would like there to be a more affordable version than the crazy blitzed out.
I think it still is. Version. I'm pretty sure it still is. I feel like I've seen it in the stores still. Yeah. So I think the glitzed out is more of a one in.
Oh, he despises dice rolls.
Oh, there you go. Well,
fair enough.
That is fair. That is fair. But yeah, I think it is still available.
Dice are not fair.
Yeah. Dice can be very unfair. But that's my number 19. My number 18. Man, when you talk about a series of games that has produced some just fantastic game experiences for a lot of people, you talk about Ticket to Ride.
Oh. No.
Yeah.
Is it?
You talk about Ticket to Ride.
So much for guessing.
Am I clicking that?
Yeah, you can click.
Oh, okay.
But I want to talk specifically about Ticket to Ride Europe. It's dropped a little bit, still here on my list. This is one of my favorite photos. My daughter hanging out with the board. I do not actually know if we played this game or if she just set it up. I honestly can't tell you.
Sure.
She probably just set up the trains on the board because it looks very staged. But Ticket to Ride Europe is my favorite version of Ticket to Ride. I have the 50th anniversary edition. It has enough complexity that there's a deep enough strategy to it for me, but I can still put it on the table of people who maybe never played Ticket to Ride, and I still feel comfortable teaching it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's one of those things that I feel like that's why it's hit the sweet spot. There's other Ticket to Rides. I do like the smaller Ticket to Rides because I can get them like Ticket to Ride New York, Ticket to Ride London.
Yep, those are cool.
You can get them to the table really quick.
Yeah.
But Ticket to Ride Europe, again, just a little bit different. My hardest part with Ticket to Ride Europe is sometimes I'm doing a double take on where in the map I want to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, where is that one? Because I just don't know it as well as the United States map.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I now know where Zagreb is.
Yeah.
I probably pronounced it incorrectly. Someone in the chat can let me know.
But yeah, and
solid pick.
But yeah, no, and this was on, and again, it stayed. This has been on my list, and I'm having a hard time. I would have a hard time seeing it off my list just because I do think it's a game I want to get to the table a few times a year. No matter what, this game's got to hit the table a few times a year. I do like this deluxeified version, but I don't think it matters if I had the deluxeified version or not. The little trains just look cool. And who doesn't like cool trains? An obligatory train game on the Tabletop Express.
True.
There you go.
Gotta get a train game, right?
It's actually the first title that first game my wife ever bought for herself was Ticket to Ride Europe.
Oh wow,
cool.
Oh, that's very neat.
Yeah.
And honestly, it what I like about this one the best is because it takes. So there are some broken things in the original one, quote unquote broken, right? If you're focusing on just building the longest rails, trying to thing, and not so much focus on like the smaller, cheaper tickets. This one gives you one larger ticket, and the rest are like kind of small point values.
Yep.
Top that off with the tunnel system. I think it's pretty solid, and the ferries too.
Yeah. And I have like most of them on Steam for the record, so I can play like all the Ticket to Rides.
Yeah.
But
we are tiny.
Yes.
Epic. Tiny and epic.
But yes, that's my number 18 this year. So when we talk about games on the list this year, so far we've included all games that have been here before. I believe my number 17 is a first time.
Okay.
I'm going to check my list to be sure of that I didn't have this last year. Yeah, this was new. So this one is a game that I had on my shelf. I had played. I had really liked, but I didn't embrace the game. I really had only played it once and said, okay, I really like this. I want to get a copy for myself. I actually played it at the, I have a fond memory of playing this and my good friend Jonathan winning a copy of the game and being jealous that he won a copy of the game. And that is the Taverns. Now, this one comes at the core, even just the base version of this game with the basic module is, I think, a fantastic game. The fact that this game has multiple modules within it that continue to up the gameplay, to me, adds a new layer. Not to mention, I am upgrading my board as I'm playing this game. Based on, I'm going to be able to make that decision to extend, to get more tables, to get greater abilities built into my board itself. The ability, the extra tables in this game, just as an example, huge, because the more people you can potentially serve, the more valuable cards you potentially have on the table. And the dice, you're fairly able to manipulate them, not necessarily manipulate them as
you draft.
You draft the dice, but you have a spot where that can flex a little bit. But ultimately, as you're drafting your dice, I feel like you can take all the actions you need in this game. It doesn't feel like you're ever like, I hate every dice I got, because of that drafting mechanic being well done. And ultimately, this is a game that grows and grows and grows because of those modules. I know there's more to the game. I believe I think there's an expansion as well, which I don't own. So just off the core base game,
you don't own the expansion?
Oh no, I do own the expansion. I apologize. Yeah. I own the expansion, but I have not actually got to put it to the table. So this is a ranking. I should say this is the ranking without the expansion.
Yeah.
Now I'm pretty sure I got the insert for this too. So I really like this one, and I think it has the potential to move up just because as I dig more into it, the more and more I like it. So it's new to the list this year, was probably sitting in the high 20s, low 30s last year. And it's on the list now, and it's a contender to move up because you get a few more plays in with the modules, with the expansions.
They should design an expansion or a hybrid game that combines this with the dragon and flagon game. So you design your tavern and then there's a bar fight.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Publishers?
We played this a lot last year too together.
Yeah, we had a week or two where we just got this to the table a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I was a big, like I said, I'm just, the way this game comes together, from the dice drafting to the building your bar to the way you pick the cards you're going to get, whether you want more barmaids or you want to upgrade, you want to be able to store more of your gold, your money. I mean, whatever you need to be able to do in this, you could take a kind of a shot at many different styles.
Yeah.
So a lot of different strategies, I should say. So yeah, that would be my number 17.
Danielle's bringing up a question. Is there a solo mode for this? So there is a solo mode. I don't remember if it was official though. I remember playing it.
I will have to get back on the officialness of that, but there was a solo mode. Yes,
it was okay.
Yeah,
I'd prefer it at 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would say so. But let me tell you this. I have not seen your list yet. No, I mean I have not seen his list yet, but I've seen your list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
you like it?
I know you like this game quite a bit.
Oh, it's on my list.
Well, it's Undaunted.
Oh, can I click it?
You could click it.
Oh yeah.
So it is. I couldn't remember what number it was, to be honest. I just knew it was on your list.
That's my number 12.
Yeah. So Undaunted Stalingrad. Look, the Undaunted series has been one that ever since you introduced it to me, and you always said I would like it, and you said you're gonna like this game. You're gonna really dig this. And we jumped right in. It was crazy because we jumped right into Stalingrad. We didn't do any of the other ones, partially because I had some of the terminology because of War Chest.
Yeah.
Now, jumping into this game, I was immediately won over. You talk about a campaign game that offers replayability, which this does. A game that you can lose a battle and still feel like, man, maybe I could still win the war. And that's what this brings every time, because I have, those moments where, and we didn't finish this yet. I'll point that out. We need to finish, but there's moments where like, I knew I took out like 80 your people in one battle and you only took out one or something. And so I knew I did some major damage that will go into future battles. So yeah, for me, this was definitely a winner. I do want to note that I don't own it because you own it. And if I did own it, I would, to the point of the question being asked, that I would get the insert. Yeah, I'd get the custom insert because I do think it makes a difference.
Where's Eddie to say, yes, it's a folded space insert?
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for that.
I was waiting for that too.
But... Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Scroll brought up the other alcohol in Taverns and Tiefenthal, I believe, are schnapps.
Yeah.
What up, schnapps?
Yeah. There's, and I don't, again, I know I've got the expansion for it, but I definitely played it.
I'm glad you played this one because it shares so much of the DNA of War Chest. And when I played War Chest, I just kept feeling myself like, I want to get back to Undaunted.
Yeah.
Like, I like that, and right here. Remember when Tabletop Express did a playthrough of this, went out and bought it.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Are there solo capable plays of Undaunted? So yes and no. A lot of 2-player war games. Some people solo them from different perspectives, and you could definitely do that in this game because you don't need to see your cards until it's your turn to see your cards. There's an online solo helper app for Undaunted Normandy, and in an Undaunted Reinforcements, there is an expansion put together by David Turtsey with a solo mode for Undaunted.
Well, I will say this, Marcel saying, so my love of War Chest means I should get this. I think you need to try it. It's definitely, I think this one you got to try because it's, but I know for a fact that Marcel is some of the Undaunted, like Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, and you said this before, if Battle of Britain made a Stalingrad style game, that is going to be the game you want.
That would be the one.
Because Battle of Britain is so good. I think the overall experience of this one just puts it over that one for me.
Yeah.
So slight spoiler, you're not.
Man, imagine if they had like a hybrid one. Where it does some air, some land.
Oh, that's flying up my list the moment it comes out.
Yeah.
Number 15, I think the community, however, is going to really appreciate. So I said I was getting a game, but I was only going to get it for the Marvel IP stuff. And I was not going to buy anything else whatsoever. Just the Marvel IP items in this game.
Oh, okay.
I lied to myself. And now I'm like, outside of really hard to get ones, 4 expansions shy of everything for the Unmatched system. And I'm going to go with the system, but I will note the thing that put this over really is the co-op a system that they came out with most recently, just because it took it to a new level.
Yeah.
For me, the fact that I could play it in some different ways. I now own it. I own that one as well. Like I said, I'm just 4 or 5, the new expansions plus 3 expansion shy.
Sure.
But this system, I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone this game is balanced. It's not. Unmatched is not balanced, but you're also going to be putting people against people who you would never put them in a head-to-head battler historically, right? So for me, this one, part of the fun is figuring out, is this person going to go well against this person? Is this going to go well? Or how can I beat this person knowing they have, in my opinion, an advantage? Because you're going to have characters with a lot of different play styles. And I'm okay with the fact that I can't describe the game as like every fighter is balanced against each other, because that's not the point of the game. Now, there are some weaker characters than others. That's fine. I accept that. But there's, from my experience in every game that I've had, at least one or two really good characters that I really like. I'm still trying to figure out how to play Bucky the right way to this point, because Bucky Barnes is what started this. The Winter Soldier was in the game, and I said, all right, I'm going to get it. And so it went down a path.
Wait, so what do you mean you never like won as him, or you don't
I
understand?
I still haven't won as him.
Oh, okay.
I've won as other people. I'm yet to win as Bucky Barnes. My son has defeated me with Spider-Man like 3 times against Bucky Barnes, and he's very proud of himself.
But you can also cross, right? The non-Marvel ones.
Oh yeah. No, we did. I think I did. It was like I did Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula, Bucky versus Sherlock the one time. Yeah. So and we did stream. That was a good time. Me and Mr. Rao had a fun stream. I lost that match too. So yeah, I haven't won as Bucky yet. That's, like I said, that's my greatest heartbreak with this game. But yeah, Unmatched. I love the system. I think it's really good. And this is one for me that I will continue to buy the games. I'm incredibly excited about the most ridiculous thing in the world, which is like getting Shakespeare in a game.
Yeah.
Like, why is Shakespeare doing a battler? I don't know, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So
there's a Brother Murph's version of Unmatched. Unmurphed.
I'm good without that. That's fine. No offense to I'm good. Number 14, however, we talked about that idea of kind of that journey you can go for an Undaunted campaign, fairly replayable. This game is one that was on my list last year. It is a game that I am currently looking at the amount of stuff I'm getting for its expansion and saying, holy crap, do I need all this? Yes, I do. And it is a wonderful experience in another battler type game.
Okay.
But it's a co-op. We're going around, we're on a train, we're punching some haints. And that is Vagrantsong.
Another train game.
Yes, my second train game. So yeah, Vagrantsong.
Spooky.
Yeah, Vagrantsong for me, it's a combination of story, the different ways my character is evolving as I'm playing this game, the different junk I'm picking up that gives me some abilities, and the control I have over a fairly unique character. Now, I believe my favorite character is out in that one all the way on the right. Oh, and on the bottom left.
The Runaway.
Yeah, the Runaway with the dog. Because I love it because you can control the dog and you control her. And I got my shirt with her on it as well, which I very much enjoy. But yeah, this game, there was something about it and the story. And I haven't fully even beaten the initial one. And I have like a two-handed game of my own going. But I will say I love just the variety that it offers, the different strategies you have to kind of come up with. And it just felt unique.
Yeah.
And it still feels unique today, that I'm excited about what comes with the expansions. I think they do a brilliant job with also saying, hey, here's 3 more junk cards. Buy this.
They got us hooked.
They got me hooked, right? But yeah, so I've enjoyed this. I truthfully need to play it more. I want to get back and finish that campaign with you.
Aww.
We have a campaign and we never finished. So John the Hand, we need the hand here too, I guess. But
those poor vagrants.
Yeah, but yeah, and
I'm still singing.
And I'm very excited because
They're whistling so much their lips are dried out.
So actually, I want to talk about the atmosphere of this game though, because it's so evocative. Like you definitely get that old timey feel. It's got that boss battler vibe. What's exciting about Vagrantsong is the system is so simple, but how the boss design is handled is amazing. It's really interesting what ways they take it and kind of figuring out the puzzle as to how to take it to the next level. But the best way to play this game if you're playing it and not streaming it, so we don't worry about getting flagged down by YouTube. Get some background noises of like crackly trains. Second tab, get some rain, thunderstorm noises. Third tab, get some old timey, like all that stuff going on, and boom, you got a party in hell going on.
I still say at some point we're going to do this, and we're going to dress up for the occasion.
You should. Yeah, Alexa, play eerie hobo music. But yeah, you should for sure. If Vagrantsong seems like, first of all, if you don't like dice, this game is not for you.
No,
it's very luck driven. It's very punishing. But the cool thing about it is it's a campaign that, regardless if you win or lose, you move forward, you fail forward.
Yeah.
So I like that in
campaign
games,
and it still has that in between period where you're going to get some new things. So every time in between the next stage of the game, you're still going to have that. I compare it to like the camping period, like in a Dungeons and Dragons or something. You have that almost rest period. You collect some new junk based on how you played that last round, and then you have a chance to evolve your play for the next game. And you don't necessarily know everything about what you're about to face either. So it's kind of cool in that way. But I think your point, the design of the baddies,
and standees. Forget miniatures.
Oh yeah,
give me acrylic standees every day.
And with all due respect to Kyle, and I know why Kyle did the miniatures, because I think there was people who would want them in the latest Kickstarter. But it was the easiest thing for me to not add as an addition.
Same,
so easy. So, but yes, that one is going to be a Vagrantsong, and very excited that I get to talk about that one.
Anthony, you got to play Vagrantsong.
Yeah.
You would like it.
Maybe it's your birthday party.
Yeah, that's another.
That's not a birthday party.
That's not a birthday party, but no, not the birthday party, but another birthday party. How many? I can do many birthday parties. Number 13. Number 13 is a game. I think it's dropped a little bit, but it is a game, and I can't even claim I'm particularly good at. Marcel has actually, I think, beat me like 10 times in a row in this game. It feels like it may not be 10 times in a row, but it feels like that. It's because it's on Board Game Arena as well now. But it's a game that I remember playing through and being the designer saying, "You're the first person I know who got through all the envelopes." And that is a game that I don't see on a lot of top 10 or top 20s, but it's a game called That Time You Killed Me by Peter C. Hayward. It's a 2021 game. It does look like 3-level chess, right? But there's so much going on in this game. And I'm always careful when I talk about this because I don't want to. There's 3 different ways that the game initially, it feels like, can play. You've got what starts with this game where you can plant, for example, bushes in the past, like a seed in the past becomes a bush in the present, and a tree in the future, and you can push the tree over in the future to fall on someone on your next turn.
I think that's how I beat you in this game.
Yes. It's never a bad. I never have a bad time playing this game, but there's so many different ways to play this. There are a lot of different things that they add in, but then as you open the envelopes that I discussed, they add all these new ways to play based on all the things you've already learned, and that to me evolved the game to a point where I will play this. I wish some of those things were actually online because I would take advantage and use some of those other methods to play.
Oh, they only have the base?
They have the core one, the first 3 boxes essentially. but the envelopes themselves offer different ways and things that you can do in the gameplay.
So when you get through all this stuff, does it then become like little modular expansions?
Essentially, essentially there's a load of modular ways to play.
That's cool.
And so it expands the game in numerous ways. And I don't want to, I won't tell everybody what all of those look like, but they're pretty cool. There's some pretty neat ways that you can play. And I just thought, and I want more. I really truthfully hope this gets like a little expansion with some more stuff, because I feel like it could.
The parallel universe.
There's so many. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Right.
Add another one little sideboard, that you could do. But yeah, That Time You Killed Me, don't see it on a ton of lists, but for me, this is a big winner. Yes, it's chess-like. If you don't like quote unquote chess-like games, maybe it won't be for you. But the thing is, I would encourage people to give it a chance, because in this game, you can move to the past, to the present. If you move to the past, you leave as long as you've got enough of them. Person in the present, and ultimately you can lose when there's not enough of you on the board. You can, and that could happen because someone pushed you into yourself, and boop, that's not good. You shouldn't run into yourself, your past and your future self. So
just learn nothing from Back to the Future.
Yeah. But there's a lot of different ways to play this once you've played through it. So I encourage people to try this out, play through, and work to open the envelopes. Worked. I know I'll be seeing Marcel later this summer, and
he loves this game.
Yeah, and he has not worked through those envelopes, so my goal is to help him get through some of them, so we can open them.
I've just always wanted to try it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it is definitely one I'm happy to teach or play with anybody online. You will probably beat me all the same, but I don't care. It's a good time. So that was my number 13. Wow,
so it dropped too. So That Time You Killed Me was originally number 10. Now it's 13.
Yep.
Vagrantsong went up one.
Yeah.
Couple new to the list. Ticket to Ride was 13. Now it's 18. Castle Burgundy was 17, 19. And Marvel Champions was 12.
Yeah.
Now 20. A lot of drops.
So. Yeah. Well, my next one might have dropped too, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Number 12.
Which I really like this game. It's in my top 20. I think the expansions have helped it in a big way, because it is a game that I did start to think there was some programmatic ways to like really just take advantage. But the world, that it makes you feel like Indiana frickin' Jones.
But
because you're not, you're out there, you're exploring, you're researching.
No way.
It's
no way. Stretch. Continue.
No. Well, for me, I put myself in the space. Okay.
Go ahead.
I enjoy it. I love that atmosphere. That's Lost Ruins of Arnak. Okay.
Okay.
And I think this one is very well designed. I think because I had a chance to try the Leaders expansion and test out and really get through those. I have not got to try the co-op, the newest expansion. But this game, that world that is here is, again, maybe Indiana Jones is not a fair comparison, but that is the vibe that I try to put myself in as I'm doing this, because I'm on an adventure. I'm collecting these resources to work up a research track. My largest issue with this game, as I said early on, was I felt like, you could kind of figure out, I need to do this, I need to go here, I need to do that. I feel like they've fixed some of that with some of the additions to the game. I don't feel like someone's always going to just beat me because they know this game. And that was a feeling I had early on with it, but I still really loved it. It is a game with limited workers, which I love. Limited workers to me is, I think, great, because it forces you to make your choices wisely.
Yeah.
And it forces you to think about, okay, what can I accomplish on this turn? And how much can I accomplish with my limited amount of workers and resources? Because that research track is challenging to get up to the top on.
Sure.
So Ulster has dropped a little bit, as noted. So again, tiny bit of a drop, but people will see why these things have dropped, because you'll see what else is on my list. But I don't have much more to add about Lost Ruins of Arnak, except I really want to try that other expansion, which was the co-op.
I believe it's called The Missing Expeditions.
Yeah. Right? Well, I was missing the name of it. So
I was almost thinking The Missing Expansion, you know?
The Missing, well, it's, yeah.
It could be funny, too.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to jump into my next one because I'm incredibly excited to talk about it.
By the way, that's in Squirrel's top 5.
Wow.
So I hope Squirrel filled out our top 20 list.
Yes.
So that could count towards.
Yeah, how's that work?
How does that work? Well, funny that you ask. If you go to our Discord and go to the favorite games channel, you will see a beautiful form.
It's pinned.
You can fill out on Google Drive, or Google Forms rather, of just your top 20, and then we're going to aggregate them all and make a top 20 out of that.
And that'll be on May 15th that we're going to conclude this entire series.
Yeah,
with all the colors picks.
That's going to be a great show.
Yeah,
the greatest, some may say. But that's tonight. Tonight's the greatest. What's number 11?
My number 11 is a 2-player game. It is a game that there was an expansion actually came out early. Not an expansion. There was a new game from the same designer that came out earlier this past year that I really hoped was going to capture that same vibe. It didn't quite do it for me. And I still find myself going back to this game. I played a lot online. I played in person. I had people interested in playing it based on when I explained to them the concept that, hey, you could play as the editor trying to take down the president. And that's Watergate.
Yeah.
And I cannot express enough how much I like this. You've got 2 sets of cards, different, which are designed for each individual. They're well balanced, I find, in this, that you've got the editor and you've got Nixon. And you've got a board here that, as the editor, I want to connect all the clues to connect Nixon to Watergate. But at the same time, Nixon knows some people, right? Nixon's got some cronies. So you're trying to stop that. And so it has a few things I really like. It's got that initiative factor of being able to go first, which is huge.
Yeah.
But you also, as Nixon, need the other marker on the board to go up, because that is the way you're going to win.
Yeah.
Because you need to get, it's 5 or 6 of them. I'm now having a moment, but
you need 2 connections, I believe.
No, that's for the editor. But Nixon only wins by,
right. I think it's 4.
Yeah. The bottom line is Nixon needs to get
5. It might be 5.
It's at least 5, but Nixon needs to get that momentum, right? So, but it's really cool because you've got block actions in this game. Yeah. You've got the ability. I mean, there's a card in particular which I really like, that as an example, someone could have a card revealed. I played this earlier today. Someone could have a piece of evidence revealed, and it's the round's not over. You play it, suddenly the evidence is off the board and back in the bag. I believe I played that against Marcel earlier today, actually, because he's got one more piece of green evidence and he's won. So I got to stop him from getting the green evidence.
Oh, he's the editor?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope you take him down, Marcel.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. Tyler's mentioning it. Match of the Century. I'm going to play this again. First play or 2, it didn't do it for me. I really wanted to love Match of the Century. It's fine, but it's just,
I actively disliked it.
Yeah,
I'll try it again.
You actively disliked it. I think we have to try it again. But the point for me is Watergate, man, it's so good. And I couldn't help but compare it to Watergate, which is not fair to that game.
I mean, Watergate is so clean.
Yes.
It looks like it's going to be a lot. But at the end of the game, end of the day, rather.
Yeah.
It's a tug of war combined with a network building kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just think of those as ticket to ride trains, that you're either trying to connect, make your destination.
And you really got to think, because the cards in this game will give you ability to move evidence, X amount of spaces, but they have abilities. Sometimes that ability is really good, but if you play it, it's out of the game.
That sucks.
And you're like, but this is really good, but I could do this and save it for later, hopefully.
Yeah.
But is there going to be a later? That's the other question you have to ask yourself. As it gets to late in the game, there really might not be a later. So Watergate, to me, if you're looking for a fantastic 2-player game, this is it. This is one
Sarah's
of them.
loving Watergate too.
This is one of them.
You know, the thing I do want to bring up about Watergate that I really do enjoy, I feel like a lot of times in these 2-player games where it can be asymmetric or very head-to-head, I feel like there could be a lack of balance or a lack of like, oh, I really don't want to be Nixon. I'd rather just stay as the editors are. I only want to play as Nixon because he's so overpowered.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all.
No.
I feel confident in playing any role and failing just as well and equally.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at this game. But I enjoy playing it.
It feels, and you also whether you want to play as Nixon or the editor, I randomize it just so it doesn't matter.
No, yeah,
it's not the same as like when I first played Votes for Women and was like, oh, I don't want to be, the
patriarchy.
The patriarchy. Yeah. Which eventually I think I got over too. But the point is, in this, I never had that feeling.
Yeah,
I was like, whatever, I'll do Nixon. It's fine. But yeah, Watergate. Fantastic game. I think people need to play this, and it should be, if you like 2-player games, it should be in your collection. That's my view. Obviously, it's in my top 10 for 2-player games at this point. So,
and we're hitting your top 10 now. And I do want to bring up too. So we have how many 2-player only games so far? It's Watergate is 1.
Yep.
That Time You Killed Me is 2. Unmatched, you could argue
you could give it. You could say 2.5.
Undaunted, Stalingrad, totally a 2-player only game.
So it's 3.5. Yeah.
And then Marvel Champions,
best at 2. Best at 2.
I think if you like 2-player games, this is a list that you should be watching because I feel like you love 2-player games.
I do. I think Castle of Burgundy plays great at 2 as well. Yeah. I don't think it necessarily needs to be at 2, but I think it's balanced.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I like 2-player games. My next game, I will say, does play well at 2 players. It plays well at 2 players, but I think it plays really well at 3 or 4 players too. It is a game that I will play anytime, any place, to the point that I bought a smaller miniature version of it.
Oh, no.
And it's not a tiny epic game.
Is it ultra tiny epic?
No. No. It is Azul.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a game that it's simple enough, much like some of the other games. It's simple enough I can teach anyone.
Right.
But there's so much strategy to this game that comes out as you play it.
Yeah.
At the same time, it has that delightful table presence, right? It's something that doesn't scare people away either, but I can put it on the table with people who play heavier board games, and generally speaking, like, yeah, I'll do a game of Azul. And you throw it in between a heavier game, for some this is the heaviest game they play in the night.
Sure.
So it's really interesting to me, like, just how well this fits in. And you see it everywhere in the stores. You see this on the shelves, and I've seen it everywhere from Target, Barnes and Noble, etc. So it's a classic for me that you're never not going to see this in my collection. And I have multiple versions of it, but I want to be very clear here. I'm talking about the OG Azul. I'm talking about original Azul. Yeah. I really like the other Azuls, actually.
You played them all?
I have played them all except for...
So there's Azul...
There's the
Frank
one.
Sinatra one.
I have not done the
Queen's Gambit one.
I've done the Queen's Gambit, which is definitely a heavier...
I think it's called Queen's Gambit, though.
No, but it's I know what you're talking about, though.
There's the Summer one.
The Summer Pavilion one.
Summer Pavilion,
Summer Pavilion's actually very fun. I really like them. The only one I didn't do was the
that's how I remember it.
Well, the Sinatra one, as you will call it, is the one that I haven't played.
It's from Hoboken.
Yeah. But Azul, like
chocolate one, which is not chocolate.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest disappointment for me, right? Totally lame.
I thought it should have been, Queen's Garden.
Queen's Garden.
I always thought that should have been like a Valentine's Day thing that you can, it just comes as a little wrapped chocolate.
Mini one honestly seems the best one.
But Mini is the original though, just smaller.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But I have
it. It doesn't need to be so big.
No,
but you have the insert things too.
Mm-hmm.
The overlays.
I have the mosaic.
Yes,
crystal mosaic.
Yes, I do.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I love this one. This is one I will. Again, this will never leave my collection ever. There's no way. Never.
So I do have to bring up though. I mean, your Portuguese tile layers. How inefficient is Portuguese tile laying if you have to like waste a bunch of tiles and move them forward? I joke by the way.
Yes, as long as you don't eat the starburst, you're good.
I'm messing around because my brother-in-law's watching. He might be. Sergio, I love you.
Oh man, but that is my number 10 for everybody.
Which was number 9 last year.
All right, holding steady.
Yeah, so my number 9 is new to the list. It should have probably been on the list before. And you disagree with this, I'm sure, because I am putting it higher on the list than Stalingrad.
I disagree.
Yes, I know you do. But when it comes down to it, it is the second David Thompson, Trevor Benjamin game. That is War Chest.
War Chest.
And I know this probably does not surprise many people in the Discord. I love War Chest. I am always trying out new strategies in this one, new combinations. It's probably why my winning percentage isn't as high as it should be, just because I always want to try different combinations. And I always play with the randomized. I never know what I'm going to get. And I have all the expansions now. And online, anytime I play, you will see I put every single expansion in. I think when you start to add some of the expansions in, this game goes up in its rating for me. In particular, because it gave more value to the initiative coin as you dig in with a few of the other expansions, which I thought was weak if you just had the base game.
Okay.
And by adding more value to what that initiative coin can do, by being able to be able to use it by being able to play to get some very special powers for you to be on the board with one of the expansions in particular, that'll maybe allow you to get pieces back. And that's, again, these are all randomized things. For me, War Chest has that head-to-head, think on your feet. You got to really think based on, hey, I have these 8 options. I'm going first, which means I'm going to pick a card that's going to be I'm going to get these pieces, but the next person's going to get 2. So, and then I'm going to get the next 2. So I got to think about what am I going to draft, because that first pick is huge. And I see Danielle saying I tried it on BGA, but I still lost on the learning game. I'm happy to do a learning game for anyone on this one. It is one that you will constantly you'll be learning for a little bit just because there's so many different units in the game. And when it comes down to it, they're not going to stop. They're still making for this. And I'm so glad.
There's a new expansion coming out.
Yes, the new expansion, which unfortunately I apparently never filled out the pledge manager. I just spent the $1. So I now have to buy it retail. I totally screwed the pooch on that one. I don't know what's going on. So I will be eventually getting that, but clearly not with that's why I didn't get my Kickstarter on it, because I realized I never filled out the pledge manager. That's fine. I gave David Thompson $1. There you go.
He didn't get the $1.
I know. He got I
went to AEG that $1.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there you go, AEG. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like War Chest quite a bit. This is a big winner for me, and that's why first time on the list. But
it's top 5 for Marcel. Dr. J needs to play his copy.
Yes.
Tyler's playing his first game right now with Dan. And Squirrel's never played it.
Me neither.
There you go. You two can go head to head.
Yeah. I'll moderate.
You don't need to moderate.
To educate. I can play by play.
Play by play.
Yeah.
This guy. Bob Costas over here.
Oh man.
Bob Costas of board games. Go ahead.
So things you all noticed some stuff had moved down.
Yeah.
Some things have moved off the list.
Uh-oh.
Well, you'll know what moved off the list to some extent at the end of this. But my number 8 is one that has definitely moved up. I mostly play this solo, however. It does play well multiplayer. We have interviewed the designer on this channel, and it is a game that I have invested in all the extra pieces, the playmat, etc. That's Fantastic Factories.
Oh.
I cannot explain what happened with this game for me.
How did I get all this stuff?
Yes, but there is something delightful about this game. It's a system of just trying to build the right machine, right? That allows me to produce all the things I need to produce to win in time, to beat the computer, knowing what the computer in this case that I'm going against is getting rid of cards, is doing many things based on a dice roll. But whether you play this solo and you're going against, call it the AI, right? Or you're playing against other people, it's so fun to build the system and figure out this factory piece is going to go really well with this piece. This is going to go really well with this. I can do this, then do this, then do this. And my brain just gets excited thinking about all the different ways I can kind of build that out. It does come with some beautiful colored dice, etc. All that. The pieces were quality. Don't get me wrong. I did upgrade, so you will see I have upgraded bits. But when it comes down to it, I think if you like a system that you can manipulate the dice in this for what it's worth. So you can manipulate those dice, and they're not necessarily just stuck as what you rolled them as necessarily. But if you like building that kind of system, but don't want to go too complicated, like you want something that you could play with family, the base game I feel does that.
Yeah,
you could start to add more, with the expansions that get you a little bit more of that base game.
Sure.
But I think again, it plays well with family, but also with board gamers who are used to playing. And the gameplay for me, 45, I'll do a 30-minute solo game, no problem. 45 minutes to an hour, usually when I'm playing with someone who knows the game, no problem as well. But this is one of those games that if you like engine building, it's all there. The theme works for this one with the factory system. It is what it is. That's not the thing that excites me. It's just how well all the cards play together.
Lots of chatter about it too. Danielle's saying great choice. Squirrel saying awesome. Manufactions is a great expansion for this game. Just what China proves. Figured. Look, love Fantastic Factories. Manufactions is great too. I like and that playmat. And Marcel saw you playing it solo at WoozleCon?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. I got up early one day and people came down and I was just playing this on the table.
I was gonna say, why would you play a solo game at a convention?
No, it's our get together with a bunch of the guys.
Got it.
So I woke up and just played it. But yeah, I recommend it. And look, the playmat also gives you all the way the game plays. So if you actually look at that, you'll see, just if anyone wants to know how that solo mode works, you'll see it says the machine's turn right on the playmat. So that's the solo side of the playmat. The playmat's double-sided.
Oh, cool.
So there's the regular, and that tells you how the machine works.
Mother load.
Yeah, it's neat. I just like this game so much. But yep, I played mostly solo though.
I gotta give it another shot. So it was at number 20. Now it shot up all the way to number 8.
I know.
That's a big jump.
I know. So the next one is a game that I get every once in a. It's rare. I get this game to the table. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. It's usually a time to celebrate that we got this to the table, and I usually need a lot of people to do it. It is a game based on an IP. It is one that you better be ready to get annoyed at each other and be okay with it. And it's not going to be a short game. But man, I don't know a game that I get. This might be the game I get the most intense with out of any game, which you have witnessed. I know Squirrel's witnessed.
Yep.
BSJ.
That's it. Battlestar Galactica.
Totally BSJ. So say we all.
Yes. I mean, this is a game that, quite frankly, like I said, you are going to immerse yourself in this game when you play it. You're going to immerse yourself in the world. If you aren't a Battlestar Galactica fan,
it don't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just a good game. Now, it's a game where you're going to be having to determine who is the Cylon amongst you? And there may be more. At a certain point, there's going to be more. Well, there's generally going to be more. There's going to be at least 2. And someone's else could become a Cylon. Cylons are bad, by the way, just so you know. And Cylons want to screw up all your missions, but they can't just.
All the Cylons
if you are the Cylons.
Yeah, and sometimes they're good.
Okay. But the Cylons don't want to be necessarily get caught. Now they can reveal themselves, obviously, at a certain point, and that actually there's a reason and a time to do that. Oh, yeah. But you could start to think some of the Cylon, throw them in the brig, then you're not going to get along to the rest of the game potentially. But no, you got to be willing to, I think, kind of have some fun with this one. And you're going to have some of that debate. Like, I'm not a Cylon. I think he's the Cylon. So there's some mental games that happen in this one. It's definitely not for everyone because of that, probably, because for some that might be uncomfortable. But man, if you have a chance to play this, it's going to take a few hours, but it is totally worth it. And I'll be honest, I have not played with all the expansions. I have the one expansion. The other, they're all incredibly hard to get at this point. But when it comes down to it, I think even with the base game, it's a phenomenal experience. I see Squirrel talking about the expansions in here.
Yeah, saying the extra things that fix this game in the Pegasus and the Exodus expansions are so impactful and make it a better experience for me. I want to see what you think.
I have one of those, and now you're going to make me
Pegasus, right?
Yeah, now you're going to make me have to go get Exodus if that ends up happening. So, yeah, I would like to play this anytime when it comes down to it. It's got to be planned, unfortunately.
Look, regardless of what version, they're all pale in comparison to the one and only one copy of Battlestar Galactica that's owned by the moderator Chris.
Yes.
Flip the table. Has a copy of Battlestar Galactica where all of the characters are swapped out with Muppets.
Yep.
And that is the ultimate way to play Battlestar Galactica with the Muppets.
Yeah, I would like to play that one. But yeah, Battlestar Galactica, it is definitely an adventure when you play this. Get ready to...
oh, yes, we're bringing up that pic of his old table. And I believe that's his pant leg. I believe that's his pant leg right here.
Well,
excellent.
So, a little risque.
Oh, man. Well, that is Battlestar Galactica, which means I'm now at number 6. Wow. We're already there.
We're climbing.
Yeah. Well, my number 6 is a crossover with Danielle, I believe.
Oh.
Again, Danielle, I think I have 3 crossovers.
We see 1, 2. Could be 3.
Yeah. It is a game that, even though I've played a game you want me to play because you made the comparison to this game.
Okay.
Even though I played that, I still, in the long run, like this one better based on and it's only off one play, so that's fine. It is a game where you are a civilization. You've got your own set of unique cards. You all play very differently. And it is Empires of the North. And I really, this was I know a big,
her number 2.
Yeah, and I will say this: I have the solo expansion for this. I have not played it, so that I have played through many of the solo scenarios that people put on Board Game Geek. Really enjoyed those. I enjoyed the way that all of these different factions of sorts play differently. They're all really different. Some are more difficult than others, which I love. But that has that same balance that we've talked about with some other games, where I know for a fact that if I play with someone who's less experienced, I can give them a more beginner deck, and I'll take something that's a little bit more challenging. Okay. Or if they don't take that, I won't use a deck that's a little bit more take that, because there's 2 decks in particular that are very take that. And so I can choose to not do that, depending on who I'm playing. So I can customize the play based on the people I'm playing with and still make it more challenging for me, which I like. Ultimately, I've got a lot of promo stuff for this one, but when it comes down to it, I think just as a core game experience, it's a fun game to get to the table that has the replayability because of all the different factions. And if you end up having all different factions, it's like 14 or 16 of them, of these different civilizations. So it's pretty neat. I don't know if any more would come out at this point. And I only say that because they did the solo game, the solo expansion, and it's been a while since we've heard anything else. So I don't know if they're done and they've moved on to the Imperial Miners series now. So it may be done. But if they come out with more, I'll buy them. And it is one, yes, collecting resources, playing cards. But they all play very differently. Some you're going to be putting resources on cards. Other cards you're going to be tucking underneath things. So they all play very differently. So I can't say like it's a consistent style of gameplay. Every group is very different, which again, I see that as a big positive for the replayability of this game, especially because I can always, try to do things with a different faction or try to really get better with one if I like. Yeah. But yeah, Empires of the North. When I saw it on Daniel's list, I was very excited.
She's saying it's so good. Makes me want to clear Mythwind off my desk and play it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And it plays well solo. I like it at 3 players in a multiplayer game. I think it can run a little bit long if you go to 4 sometimes. I like it at 3, but great solo. Yeah.
So you played this one, Anthony?
I have not.
No? I played it only the once with you.
Yeah.
And I'm selling my copy, not because I disliked it, but like I'm gonna play it. It's probably going to be.
Oh yeah, and I have everything, so it falls under that same that same vibe. But yeah, Empires of the North.
Well, forget that because now we're on our top 5.
Top 5.
Yes,
that's the vibe now. Top 5 vibe.
Then my top 5.
By the way, Imperial Settlers was your number 6 last year too.
Yeah,
Battlestar was your 4.
Yeah, Battlestar moved up. Back, I should say. Yeah. No, the biggest move was Fantastic Factories. There will be nothing
so far.
I mean,
no, I think so.
Yeah. We're gonna stay in the North with number 5, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
And at number 5 is a game, a worker placement game that had brought me in because of the unique. It is my favorite Shem Phillips game, so this gives it away right there. It is a game I played with all the expansions. You've all heard me talk about it if you watch this channel. And I love the worker placement in it because you place a worker and you pick a worker up. Mm-hmm. So you got to be very mindful of where you place a worker because someone else may pick it up later. And certain workers that you're getting in the game, you're going to need to go farther up on the sail away on the map. And it is Raiders of the North Sea. Like I said, I like this with all the expansions. I love the artwork in this one. It is a game that I unfortunately never got the playmat for. And so I actually have a search that goes to see if I ever see the playmat for a reasonable price. But it's so much fun to build up this crew of Vikings in this game and then send them out. And especially as you get into the expansions, there's these other ways to score points. There's these other even forms of resources. Mead, as an example, is something you're able to spend. But then you send them, and maybe you're not too upset if they go to Valhalla, because guess what? You're getting points for that. Mm-hmm. But you also got to keep being able to go out. So you got to be able to make sure you're set to get more cards after the fact. Yeah. No, it's the playmat is a must in my opinion. I want that playmat. Yes.
Oh, now you have to scroll, keeping eyes on a playmat now.
Yeah, it's the only. I should have a playmat for this one. It's sad that I don't. But I do like it. There is a little bit of dice chucking just for some of the battles, but it's fairly. You're able to kind of have an idea of what you're going to be able to do. So you're not going to go there and generally lose. You're just hoping sometimes to get a little bit more, or get a little bit more reward from it. But yeah, I love this game. Going out, taking on the risk of going to some of these places where hey, you're going to have to kill off one of your Vikings. But then that Valhalla factor of they're going to also now go up this other side of the board with a tracker. And then there is one of my favorite cards in this game is a Viking who every time you have to send a Viking to Valhalla, if he's in there, he comes right back to your hand.
Cool.
So there's some really neat cards in the game that allow you to manipulate. It's also, by the way, one of the ones that actually give you really good coins. Like,
that's base game coins.
The base game coins with this were solid.
What?
And they don't do that anymore. I didn't buy those special. Like, this is what they came as in my box, and I bought it retail.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's at least when I bought it, what happened. I didn't buy a Kickstarter version of this. The only actually ones I have some of them that I bought on Kickstarter, and then ultimately I don't play them. I go back to Raiders of the North Sea. And I play Architects too, but yeah, Raiders of the North Sea. It's been on my list a while. It was in the top 3 in the past, but it's dropped a little bit over time. But I think it's kind of holding steady here in that top 5. So that's Raiders of the North Sea.
The Raiders.
Have you played that one yet?
I have not.
No, I still got to replay it with you.
Yes, we got to record it too, and get your real live opinion. Do we want that? I'm not sure, but
just because I don't like the game.
You never played with all the expansions.
It's true. It's true.
You never played with all the expansions.
Never play with all the expansions.
You'll like it, Anthony. You should play. So now I'd like to see. I saw some predictions. I'm very interested what people were saying.
Predictions were, and feel free to shoot them out. Squirrel still expecting Hadrian's Wall, Cascadia, Scythe.
He had Raiders. Well, you got Raiders on there, yeah.
Rachel's bringing up Targi.
Okay.
Let's see. Dr. J, if you consecutively play your number 5, then your number 12, would that be
Raiders of the Lost Arnak?
Oh, yeah. And it still wouldn't feel like Indiana Jones.
No, well, no, but it's.
I'm sorry, but Indiana Jones does not just sit and just focus on his research.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I think I like the game. I played it only once. Going back to Arnak now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a very immersive game.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
It's not thematic.
No.
It's a cool theme.
It is, but it could be other stuff. I feel like,
for sure,
without changing too much.
All I know,
I was hoping for Trick Shot.
No, we're in the top 4. I will hate to disappoint there. So in my top 4, I just want to note. Yeah, don't look there. I want to note. You've seen some of these before, but there is one that maybe people won't expect to be as high up. My number.
Squirrel thinks Targi's number what? I think Targi's your number 4.
Right there.
Okay, we got prediction Targi number.
Dracula versus Van Helsing.
No. So look, I liked that game. Don't get me wrong, but that wasn't even number 1 of 2020.
Flipping number 3 and number 2.
Okay. Well, look, let's get right into it. Number 4. Number 4 is a game that is also. I love this game. And I will admit it probably gets a slight boost because I also know I can play it because my wife loves this game. And that is a wonderful game by the name of Cascadia. No, not Targi. She does not
Cascadia.
My wife does not like Targi. I've tried that. That ship has sailed. So Cascadia, and I just want to stress the fact that even with the new expansion, because I think the new expansion, Landmarks, outside of the actual Landmarks piece, the extra stuff was really good. Plus the kind of new mode that the mode where you're going to start with 5 tiles that you're going to be able to kind of strategically use. I think those additions from Landmarks add value to the game of Cascadia. But the game of Cascadia is such a smooth game. It's the concept of, all right, you're going to pick a tile and one of these wildlife tokens. Oh, unless you've got one of these other pieces, then you're gonna be able to swap, pick this tile and then pick a wildlife from another spot. So for me, this game just stays up there because it's just fun to play, period. And I think it's a very sleek design. I think it's a game that makes me think, but it doesn't break me. And that I liked Calico, but I actually took Calico out the other day, which is in this family, right? I took Calico the other day, and it reinforced why I love Cascadia so much. Because Calico, I was just staring at the board like, how am I going to do this? And in Cascadia, not that I'm not thinking about where I'm going to do this, but my brain's not burning over it. There's not steam coming out of my ears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, because yes, there's more than one way to do it in this game, and in Calico, there often is only one way to make something work.
Right. So for me, that's a big piece of it. I do take into the aesthetic of it does play a part in that sense. The fact that I can get this to the table helps. And I think the fact that there's a lot of variety with the different ways that you score. Of course, you have the family mode that you can play too with, but even with my family, I don't play family mode. I'm not going to lie. My family plays with regular mode, and they've always done that. But Cascadia, for me, sticking strong in this. This has been, I think, was this free last year?
It was number 3 last year.
It was number 3 last year. Yeah. So this was, like I say, a slight drop, but it's still sitting there in the top 5. Yeah. I'm going to recommend for people, you check out Landmarks for some of the extra locations, from some of the little extra things it does. I don't actually love the landmarks part, like the actual putting the landmarks on, but I love everything else it adds. I wish it was a little bit cheaper, quite frankly. But I think it does add value if you really like Cascadia. So,
Agreed.
So it was Tyler's number 13.
Okay.
Which he did submit, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Our top 20. Cascadia is top 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dr. J submitted yet. And Rachel's saying out of the 3 prefers Verdant to all of them. And I am also Team Verdant as well.
Yeah.
For those 3.
Yeah, you really liked Verdant. I didn't dislike Verdant. It just, it was not going to stack for me.
Do you like Calico better than Verdant?
I like Calico better than Verdant.
Whoa. No,
do
you like Calico better than Verdant?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I like but I like. Oh,
there you go. Number 1 prediction is On Mars.
Oh God, I like Cascadia better than all of them by leaps.
There's one game that I don't think anyone has guessed yet that is definitely in these next 3.
Well, I am gonna drop one that people have not mentioned. I'm kind of surprised.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 is a game I love. I've spent more money on it than the game probably deserves. My box is overflowing for this. It kind of, I needed I had to get one of the special board game rubber bands for it just to keep the bot. Like it's not in a great position. It's so full. And it is a game that I celebrated my first victory nearly a year ago today.
Was that your only victory?
My only victory. Okay. I played this game more than 20 plus times.
Right, that was like a year ago.
Yes. That's Quacks of Quedlinberg. This game for me, I can and Dr. J can appreciate this because we've played this virtually many times. It was happening in the photo on the right.
Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah.
Quack, quack, quack.
And Quacks is a game to me that I talked about experience before.
Sure.
I have a great experience every time I play this game. I'm the first to say, tons of luck in this game. Yes, you could strategically try and build that bag, but you are still pulling the crap load of things out of a bag and hoping to get the one that you need.
Yes.
I think the expansions do add some, at least the expansions adding the extra ways that the ingredients do things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think those are really nice. And I did, yes, she's right. He was there.
Yeah, he was there.
I got all the geek bits. But when it comes down
throw them all up in the air.
No, I didn't. No, because I don't want to lose them. But this is a game that I think, yes, you got to be okay with luck. And it's a huge luck-based game. Again, 20 plus times I had played it. I played it 20 times and not one until last year.
First time. Push your luck. It's not just luck.
It's very much push your luck.
I always have a tendency in this game to feel like I'm in it and then lose on the last round.
Yeah.
And that's usually what has happened. So for me, this one was definitely easy to put in the top 3 just because I would play this anytime, any place. It's a game to me that you can just have fun with and kind of laugh about. Oh, you get, and even when you're not and you're all constantly going. So that's the other thing is the game flow can kind of keep going just because everyone's drawing from their bag. Like there's those moments where, okay, I'm going to buy, you're going to buy, you're going to buy, but the game's constantly moving. Yeah. So it doesn't overstay its welcome for that reason.
Fast.
Yeah. Definitely when you're doing the teach and you have to teach people like what all the ingredients do. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That maybe a little bit of a learn there, but I feel like you can play this with all levels of gamers and good times ahead. So, and it plays well virtually as long as both have done that.
And a scene here.
Yeah. Well, that's with, again, playing with Dr. J at that time. So, but yeah. And this is definitely in the right spot at number 3. So,
Squirrel brings up, completely forgot how much you enjoyed Quacks. So he's predicting the rest of the list too. Dr. J, loved this game, still never won.
That's okay.
Nice geek bits, yeah. Played it once and loved it. Was one of the games that my mom brought as my mom bought as her first game for family game night. Got her Geek Up bits for Mother's Day.
Oh, that's awesome that you got the Geek Up bits. Yeah, the Geek Up bit. I will not always say the Geek Up bits are needed for every game, but in my opinion, for this game, they just feel right.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. And they're pretty reasonably priced, I guess. I don't know. The best value.
It's like the same price as the game, isn't it? Like $40.
There's so many of those pieces, though. There is a game or two, but I think the Geek Bits are like it's a steal of the price. It's not this one. I wouldn't call it a steal.
No, I wouldn't either.
Stealing from you.
Maybe that's the accurate phrase. But my number 2. We are at number 1 and number 2, and I'm sure as soon as I reveal number 2, you'll know what number 1 is, but that's okay. My number 2 is a game that I will say I believe is the reason I fell in love with modern gaming. Mm-hmm. Again, it brought me back in a big way. I had been doing stuff. I've been playing more party games and some slightly above party. But this is what brought me back in. Mm-hmm. And this was, I played it with the first time I played this game was with the OG Ryan of the Tabletop Express, who I believe our first video was teaching. Oh God, it was rolling right. I'm having a moment, but we learned this in person because I happened to be down at a conference near him. He had me come over for a game night, and we played Scythe. And so began a wonderful journey. And Scythe is such a tremendous game for me. Mr. Out talked a lot about this. For me, it's the choice of a top action and then hoping you can, and planning to be able to do the bottom action.
Yeah.
Being ready to do that. It's the fact that, yes, it's area control, but I may not want to fight you, but I may have to fight you. But then if I fight you, I may not have as much power as I need to get the star for power. So I better win to get the fighting. Mm-hmm. But then I fought you. And because I fought you, I didn't win. And now I'm not going to get that.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe the objective card was to lose a battle. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's such a turn of everything that can happen. And so for me, Scythe, hugely important game. With 3 to 5 people, this game just shines for me. I'm not claiming it's a short game. And I'm glad it's not. Like, this is a game that does not overstay its welcome in that hour and a half to 2 hours. And for many people, I will say it will take more than 2. But if you play with people who know the game, it can be an hour and a half to 2 hour game.
Totally.
It truthfully can. What puts it into the top 2 for me is what also gets added with additional expansions, in particular Rise of Fenris, which not only is it a campaign, but it adds modular gameplay in that adds more variety to the game. Yeah. And I think don't have the realistic resources for this. Like, there's still little things I don't have that. But the coin
upgrades, you mean?
Yeah, little upgrades. Like, there's still little upgrades I don't have for this, but I will tell you, one of my most exciting things when Expeditions came out was they came up with one additional coin type that works for Scythe and Expeditions.
Yeah.
So now I I got more metal coins out of it, you know. But yeah, I highly recommend people try this game out. I think it's a really cool experience. And if you get a good teacher for it, I do think a good teacher is really critical for this, especially in the beginning, because it's really the first phase is setting up.
Yeah.
The second phase is trying to figure out how to take control, and the third phrase can become like a little bit frantic. I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. So there's 3 stages to me in this game, and it's delightful. So always happy to play this one. And actually, I will give credit. The Apple app for this is actually really good.
Yeah, we did that stream last year.
Yeah, and I actually prefer it on the iPad over Steam itself. It's just a smoother experience for me personally. But
so Tyler's saying needs to play, but Expeditions will hit my table first for sure. So much for Scythe. Can't imagine having all the content promos, upgrades.
Yeah.
And Squirrel finished his Rise of Fenris in 2 days on my own, and it was a great way to end my era with my.
And I couldn't do that because the Fenris campaign, like I really wanted to. As I played through that, I was like soaking it in.
Yeah.
I have my own copy of it, so I intend to do it. Yeah. It's been a while. I don't remember all the details from it, so it'll be a good time.
Before we jump into your number 1, by the way, I do need to highlight, if any single people are in the audience, Rachel has some fantastic advice on a great pickup line for your fellow board.
Noise Geek Bits. It's a great pickup line. Noise Geek Bits. Oh, that's great. Oh man, I love the comments. And I will just say before I do my number 1. We have, it's exciting, more top 20 videos.
Oh yeah.
So this video concludes tonight. Then Anthony will be going.
Me?
On the 7th.
That's right.
And you have a special guest.
A week from tonight. No. A week from yesterday.
Yeah, week from yesterday.
6 days to go.
6 days. Yes.
Yes, my wife will be joining me on the stream.
So very excited about that. And then we've been chatting, and I believe we're going to have Arwen and Brian Chandler in the house to share their top 20 and not joint top 20.
No, 2 separate.
They're 2 separate top 20.
It's the top 2020.
The top 2020 of all time.
And then the People's Choice Show.
Yes. And then the People's Choice Show, which is
the Caller's Top 20.
The Caller's Top 20, which I cannot be.
So we're back to call a board format for that one, so people can call in.
Yes, and I have heard people like, when's call board coming back? So we are excited to bring that back with your games. So please, if you're in the Discord, make sure you fill out the list. If you're not in Discord, join the Discord and then fill out the list.
How long do they have? When's the cutoff? Is there a deadline?
Yes. Let's see.
He's got to make the thing. So
we'll say the Friday before May 15th.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And we're probably going to need some help actually on that too from the Discord to get us images for some of those games too. So,
May 10th.
Yeah. So May 10th. That's your deadline, folks. Well, with that,
number 1.
My number 1 will surprise absolutely no one at this point, it appears, based on the chat. My number 1 is a surprise 2-player game. And it is Targi. This is a crossover. Mr. Rao's number 2. This was my number 1 last year. It is my number 1 this year. And when I talk about Targi, it's the base game that I speak to because at the core, I have the expansion. I think the expansion is fun. I feel like the expansion is almost a different game. So when I talk about Targi, I'm talking about Targi, the base experience that you're going to get. You've got a worker placement game in the sense of you're placing your workers around the corner of these cards, which are all going to be in the same spots in every game. You've got resources in the middle, and you've got cards that you're going to be paying for those resources with. Those cards have abilities or higher value up to being worth 3 points. And you need to also trade in those resources to get coins. Because if you don't gold coin, you don't have the ability to get some of these cards. You're building a tableau of 3 rows of 4. And if you have all the same type of card, you can get 4 extra points. If you have 4 of one different type each, you can get 2 points. Unless you've got a card, for example, that says, hey, if you've got 2 rows of different ones, you're going to get more points. Yeah. So the cards themselves, because they have these abilities, add a lot of value to the game in that way. It's such a tight game. It's such a good 2-player experience, and you're not angry when someone blocks you in this one. There's the
you are. You totally are.
Well, you're not, but you're not in the sense of like
no, it's not too take batty.
That's what I mean. It's not.
I mean that's the game, right? You have to know that going in, but there's still going to be some.
You look for a moment like,
salt is one of the resources.
Yes, salt is true. But you have those moments of, you literally went there. But
also dates.
Yes, dates too. But it's so fun because then next thing you know, you're doing that to them. Marcel says, I get blocked, then I plan for how to block later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to. And there, I don't know, the balance of this game. Earlier, I talked about some games like Unmatched that maybe didn't have balance, right? In the way that they are. This is just, to me, a perfectly balanced game. It is number one because it is the game that I would play over anything. Mr. I was talking about your Desert Island game the other night. And if I'm stuck on an island with someone, this has, to me, infinite replayability for myself.
Someone. If you're by yourself, though.
If I'm by myself, well,
what game is it then?
Oh,
Friday.
That'd be a good choice, right?
2 on the nose.
Yeah, no. It'd probably be Fantastic Factories then, because I play that game as long as I can bring my playmat.
Sand will go everywhere.
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
Maybe the playmat could double as a raft.
So Targi is your number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's your number one last year.
Mm-hmm.
Number one year before.
No, year before that was Scythe.
Okay.
Scythe and Targi have been my number ones since we started doing these lists. Scythe has dropped a little bit, but
I still haven't played the expansion. What was the expansion name again?
Targi.
The expansion.
Yeah,
I know. I just
he asks me every year.
I just love hearing it.
Yeah.
It's so efficient,
Yeah, Targi. The expansion. It's a good choice. Wrong realms if she was stuck by myself. So
this mechanic too. I'm trying to think of another game that does this mechanic where you kind of go on the outliers and do things. Was Quadropolis that way?
I don't Quadropolis, but Merv has things where you're playing on the outside, and I haven't played it. Like I own it, but I have not got it to the table. It's on the shelf of shame at the moment. So that would be for ShameCon. You've got other games that have where you're playing stuff on the outside to take actions, but I don't know, that cross-section piece, it still feels unique to me.
Yeah.
And this has stayed fresh, so it hasn't left, it hasn't gone anywhere. Like I said, some big jumps this year for sure. Quacks is moving up into the top 3, I think is a big deal. Marvel Champion still on the list, but I like I said, in Wonderlands War sitting right here, and it was so close. It was so close to making it.
I mean, it's a solid. Here's the whole top 20 right here. So we got Targi, Scythe, Quacks of Quedlinberg, Cascadia, Raiders of the North Sea, Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North, Battlestar Galactica, Fantastic Factories, War Chest, Azul, Watergate, Lost Ruins of Arnak, That Time You Killed Me, Vagrantsong, Unmatched, Undaunted, Taverns and Tiefenthal, Tickets to Ride Europe, Castles of Burgundy, and the Marvel Champions, the card game.
Yes.
Very good.
Pretty solid.
And a lot of crossover with Mr. Rao and Danielle tonight. So looks like 4 with Mr. Rao and 3 with Danielle.
And still a good amount of 2 players. Fantastic Factory primarily plays solo.
Yeah, it plays great.
And your largest group game was what? Probably Battlestar?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, Scythe, though, in all fairness.
True.
Scythe is great at 5 players.
Yeah.
Great at 5 players. And there are games that are not on this list very much because of, say, if I made a list that was my top 10 for just solely experience, period, there are games that would be in the top 20 that aren't here. And I know Marcel knows one of them. So it's interesting. But yeah, I'm very happy. Like I said, some things have dropped, but I'm very excited to be able to put War Chest in there. And again, Targi holds strong at number 1. So yeah. And then what's Marcel saying here? I would have to guess what more plays Trickshot Imperial may make the list. Trickshot with the 2 plays I've had, quite a good game. Quite a good game.
That means no, it's not making your top.
No, I didn't say that. I've only played it twice. And Apiary I've only played once. So, little limited in experience. Like I said, Wonderlands War is sitting at 21. And you had some other games. I will say this. My 21 to 30, 35 is really
How far did you
tight.
How far did you rank?
I did 50.
Okay.
I did 50, but my 15 to 35 range gets close, and then they start to separate.
Sure.
And then Targi and Scythe were.
Oh my goodness!
No,
That's
don't do that.
Format.
Yeah, don't do that.
We'll do this one.
Yeah,
our side.
Yeah, Targi and Scythe were 1 and 2, and then there was space. Right. So,
and that was your top 20. Sir.
Yeah, that's my top 20. And so we've got a few more to go with these, as noted. Of course, if you are not part of our Discord, please go ahead and join us. We'd love to have you there. We got a great community, and gives you a chance to be part of our Kohler's Top 20, which, again,
fill in that form.
Coming up on May 15th. Fill in that form, but May 10th. On that note, tune in next Tuesday for Anthony's Top 20. And on that note, we will see you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.